Welcome to Worldwise. Today we're diving deep into a topic that shapes not just America but the entire world: how U.S. elections impact global politics. From trade wars to military interventions, the outcomes of these elections send ripples across the globe. Let's explore. In this video, we'll unpack how changes in U.S. leadership influence international relations, trade, security, and climate policy. We'll also look at historical examples and current data to illustrate these dynamics. Plus, we'll explore possible future policies of both the Republican and Democratic parties after the upcoming elections. So let's get started. First, let's take a look back at history. The election of John F. Kennedy in 1960 was a turning point during the Cold War. His administration escalated military involvement in Vietnam and took a hard stance against communism. These decisions reshaped global alliances, dividing the world into Eastern and Western blocs. The Bay of Pigs invasion and the Cuban Missile Crisis are prime examples of how U.S. elections can heighten international tensions. Fast forward to recent years and we see how trade policies are influenced by elections. The 2016 election of Donald Trump resulted in tariffs on over $370 billion worth of Chinese goods, igniting a trade war that disrupted global supply chains. This trade war had a significant impact on international markets, as companies scrambled to adapt to new tariffs and trade barriers. Additionally, it shifted economic alliances as countries sought new partners to fill the gaps left by disrupted trade. Another area where U.S. elections have a major impact is military interventions. The election of George W. Bush in 2000 led to the War on Terror, culminating in the invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq. These decisions not only reshaped the Middle East but also led to the rise of groups like ISIS, highlighting how U.S. policies can have far-reaching consequences. In turn, this has affected U.S. relationships with allies, as nations re-evaluated their security strategies. Now let's discuss climate policy. The election of Joe Biden in 2020 marked a significant shift toward multilateralism and climate action. By rejoining the Paris Agreement, the Biden administration aimed to rally global cooperation. The Leaders' Climate Summit held in 2021 demonstrated how U.S. commitment can invigorate international efforts to combat climate change. Countries like China and India have responded by enhancing their own climate commitments, recognizing the influence of U.S. policy. U.S. elections also shape relationships with major powers, particularly China and Russia. The ongoing competition with China has intensified under both the Trump and Biden administrations. A Pew Research survey from 2021 showed that 73% of Americans view China as a competitor, indicating a shift in U.S. foreign policy that affects how countries interact with China on the global stage. Beyond direct policies, U.S. elections can shift global norms and values. The promotion of democracy and human rights has historically been a pillar of U.S. foreign policy. However, shifts in leadership can influence how aggressively these values are promoted. A more isolationist U.S. could embolden authoritarian regimes, undermining global efforts to uphold human rights. Another unique point is the impact of U.S. elections on global technology standards and cybersecurity. Leadership changes can affect how the U.S. approaches technology regulation and international cybersecurity agreements. For example, tensions around 5G technology and cybersecurity concerns have led to global divisions. The U.S. stance on companies like Huawei can influence other nations' tech policies, creating a fragmented digital landscape. U.S. elections also impact international organizations. The Trump administration's withdrawal from the World Health Organization during the COVID-19 pandemic raised concerns about global health cooperation. Cutting funding to the WHO undermined international efforts to combat the pandemic, showcasing how a change in U.S. leadership can significantly alter global health strategies. The economic policies of U.S. leadership also play a crucial role in global stability. A robust U.S. economy can bolster global markets while economic downturns can lead to global recession. For instance, the COVID-19 pandemic highlighted how interconnected economies are. U.S. recovery efforts significantly influence global supply chains and market confidence. As we look ahead to the 2024 elections, it's essential to consider what future policies might emerge from both major parties. If Democrats win, we can expect a continued focus on multilateralism and international cooperation. This could include 1. Climate action, enhanced commitments to global climate agreements and investment in renewable energy technologies. 2. International health initiatives, strengthening global health responses and increasing funding for organizations like the WHO to prepare for future pandemics. 3. Tech regulation, a focus on regulating big tech companies and promoting cybersecurity initiatives through international cooperation. 4. Promoting democracy, renewed emphasis on human rights and democratic governance in foreign relations, particularly in regions with authoritarian regimes. Conversely, if Republicans take power, we might see 1. America First policies, a more isolationist approach that prioritizes U.S. interests over global commitments, potentially withdrawing from international agreements. 2. Trade policies, continuation or escalation of tariffs and trade wars, particularly with China, focusing on domestic manufacturing and job creation. 3. Military strength, increased military spending, and a focus on strengthening defense alliances, particularly in the Indo-Pacific region to counter China's influence. 4. Regulatory rollbacks, a reduction in environmental regulations and international commitments, which could have significant implications for global climate efforts. In conclusion, U.S. elections profoundly impact global politics. From trade wars and military actions to climate initiatives and international relations, the choices made at the ballot box have far-reaching implications. As we approach the 2024 elections, the world will be watching closely. What do you think? How will the next U.S. election shape global politics? Let us know in the comments below.